You can also check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, and if you want to purchase any of the longevity products that you hear us talk about on the Bright Side, you can head over to brightsideben.com. Of course, you can always join the Bright Side Ben team by clicking on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, or you can call the Bright Side Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. Okay, we are talking about homocysteine. That's the toxic form of cysteine. Cysteine, the hardening protein, cysteine, the detox protein, but in its homocysteine form, it's got some toxicity, especially when it comes to heart disease. Dr. Kilmer McCulley, who is a Harvard researcher, now at Brown University, Dr. Kilmer McCulley noticed something very interesting when he was working at Mass General back in the late 1960s. He noticed that a patient of his, who was 9 years old, had elevated homocysteine levels. She was dealing with a disease where homocysteine levels build up to ridiculously high amounts, and he noticed that simultaneous with her elevated homocysteine, she had the circulatory system of not a 9-year-old girl, but a 60-year-old woman. He noticed that she was dealing with atherosclerosis, typically a disease of old age, but it turns out that this little girl had the same kind of health problems, the same kind of symptoms. So he wondered if there was a connection between homocysteine and heart disease. This was the late 1960s, and it was the glory days of the lipid hypothesis, which is the idea that heart disease is caused by saturated fat, eating too much fat, or cholesterol, eating too much cholesterol. There are still misguided medical professionals who'll tell you that eating too much cholesterol and eating saturated fat causes heart disease even today. But back in the 1960s, it was really, everybody knew, it was dogma. It was solid, hardcore, accepted, conventional wisdom that when you ate fat and you ate cholesterol and you ate saturated fat, you got heart disease. And here Dr. McCulley's coming around saying, well, wait a minute. I wonder if heart disease is really more about elevations in homocysteine. And he went and he told he went to his superiors at Mass General. And by the way, it turns out you don't need very much to lower homocysteine. You certainly don't need drugs. I'll tell you what you do to lower homocysteine here in a bit. But anyway, Dr. McCulley got all excited. He goes to his superiors with this good news. Hey, I think I found the real reason why people have heart attacks. And surprise, surprise, instead of giving Dr. McCulley a raise and maybe a promotion, the medical geniuses at Harvard and Mass General instead vilified him. Not only did he not get a promotion, he ended up getting fired. He ended up getting fired from Harvard. He was denied a new position at Mass General. And he was basically demonized. He couldn't find work. So, what the heck's going on? Why all the resistance to Dr. McCulley's research? Well, aside from the fact, as I said before, representatives of the status quo don't like to be questioned. They don't like to be doubted. They exist for themselves. They need their jobs. They forget that their mandate is to help the people that compose those institutions. Aside from the fact that representatives of the medical model and representatives of the establishment don't like to be questioned, aside from that fact, all you need is a couple of cents worth of vitamins to take care of homocysteine. You don't need to have drugs. You don't need any doctors. You don't need any insurance companies. You don't need anybody but yourselves. All you got to do is take a little bit of vitamins, a couple cents worth of certain vitamins, which I'll tell you about here in a minute. And nobody in the medical model wanted to kill the goose that laid the golden eggs. Nobody in the medical model wanted to open up the Pandora's box of violating the sanctity of the so-called lipid hypothesis. Cholesterol as a cause of heart disease was and is the prevailing belief. And Dr. McCulley comes around, makes a ruckus about homocysteine. That isn't going to be looked at with very much favor by the medical model. The fact is, you don't need drugs to lower your homocysteine. All you need is a good diet and a few very cheapo vitamin supplements, and that basically added fuel to the fire. These days we know, of course, that Dr. McCulley was right on, spot on. When it comes to heart disease and atherosclerosis, as well as Alzheimer's disease, inflammatory diseases in general, homocysteine is a huge, huge problem. As far as cardiovascular health goes, unlike cholesterol, whose levels have really no clear link to heart disease, people with high cholesterol levels live fine, long lives, never get heart attacks. People with low cholesterol levels end up with heart disease and heart attacks all the time. There is no clear link. No clear link. Tell this to your doctor. There is no clear link between heart disease and elevated cholesterol. People with low cholesterol drop dead of heart attacks all the time. Unlike cholesterol, however, elevated homocysteine, the homocysteine connection to atherosclerosis, to heart attacks, to heart health, to the circulatory system in general, is absolutely undeniable. Homocysteine is basically a type of cysteine that represents sluggishness in the body. Homocysteine, when homocysteine builds up, it represents a slowness, a sluggishness in the chemistry, in the biochemistry of the body. The less effectively cells are processing energy, the more sluggish cells are, the more homocysteine they're going to be accumulating. In order to understand what goes wrong when it comes to homocysteine, we got to recognize a fundamental concept about the body. We have to understand the nature of the body, or actually we have to understand the nature of cells as little tiny chemical manufacturing systems. The main thing, really the only thing that a cell does, the only role of a cell is to make stuff. It's to make chemicals. And when I talk about chemicals, you can think of Tinker Toys. And the way Tinker Toys have little pieces attached to them, and if you stick one piece onto a Tinker Toy, it creates a completely different piece than if it didn't have a different Tinker Toy than if it didn't have that piece. That's how chemistry occurs in the body. Cells are making these Tinker Toy-like shapes, and they're making these Tinker Toy-like shapes by sticking on little pieces, just like you did when you were a kid and you were playing with Tinker Toys. That's what cells do. They make Tinker Toy shapes, and they stick pieces on and take pieces off to create new shapes, and they do this all day, every minute of every day, endlessly and ceaselessly. This is essentially the very definition of the life force. The life force is that mysterious something, and I say mysterious because nobody knows what it is, the God force, the divine force, if you will. It's that mysterious something that allows cells to make these kinds of Tinker Toys all day, every minute of every single day. Every split second of every day of our lives, cells are turning Tinker Toy A into Tinker Toy B into Tinker Toy C. Chemical A into chemical B into chemical C. And the cells are doing it by sticking little pieces on these chemicals just like you did when you were making Tinker Toys. But all of that requires energy. In order for Tinker Toy A to get turned into Tinker Toy B into Tinker Toy C, or chemical A or chemical B or chemical C, cells need energy. And they need assisting chemicals to transfer that energy, so-called cofactors, which ultimately come from two places: nutrition and oxygen. And by nutrition, I'm also including water. Between nutrients, vitamins, vitamins, minerals, protein, carbs, fats, everything we get in the diet, and oxygen and water, all of that gets converted into energy so cells can make Tinker Toy A and Tinker Toy B and Tinker Toy C. But under conditions of energy shortage, under conditions of energy deficiency and energy crisis, chemical processing does not occur as it should. Chemical A may get turned into chemical B, but it might not make it into chemical C. And this can lead to a buildup or an accumulation of chemical B and a shortage of chemical C. Hang tight. I'll finish up when we come back from our break and take your phone calls as well. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network.
The freeze-dry guy, leader in the preparedness industry for 44 years, is closing his California warehouse. Don't miss out on this huge warehouse sale and receive discounts from 30 to 40% off on the finest Mountain House and Packaway brand freeze-dried and dehydrated foods for long-term food storage or even everyday use. Plus deep discounts on all in-stock survival gear. The Freeze-Dry Guy is offering a wide selection of freeze-dried foods in number 10 cans and even individually packaged entrees. Remember, meats, vegetables, fruits, and long-range patrol rations are the main components for any long-term food storage. This is limited to stock on hand, so hurry and call 866-404-3663 or 530-798-4414. Remember, as always, free shipping to the lower 48 states. So hurry up and call 866-404-3663 or 530-798-4414. Remember, this is limited to stock on hand. The Freeze-Dry Guy is your choice for survival food in an uncertain world.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
We've been patiently waiting while you tried to ignore us, waiting while you acted like we didn't exist, waiting for our chance to be taken seriously. The wait is over. GCN is available 24/7 at GCNlive.com. Navigate through news from your favorite hosts and download archives of past shows. Download the app on your smartphone or tablet or visit GCNlive.com for instant access and live streaming. GCNlive.com, the future of talk radio, now at your fingertips.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for $35,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet for $35,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Call 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
The freeze-dry guy, leader in the preparedness industry for 44 years, is closing his California warehouse. Don't miss out on this huge warehouse sale and receive discounts from 30 to 40% off on the finest Mountain House and Packaway brand freeze-dried and dehydrated foods for long-term food storage or even everyday use. Plus deep discounts on all in-stock survival gear. The freeze-dry guy is offering a wide selection of freeze-dried foods in number 10 cans and even individually packaged entrees. Remember, meats, vegetables, fruits, and long-range patrol rations are the main components for any long-term food storage. This is limited to stock on hand, so hurry and call 866-404-3663 or 530-798-4414. Remember, as always, free shipping to the lower 48 states. So hurry up and call 866-404-3663 or 530-798-4414. Remember, this is limited to stock on hand. The freeze-dry guy is your choice for survival food in an uncertain world.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Independently leading the way for the nation. Compelling talk for every political persuasion. We are GCN.
All right, we are back on the bright side. Pharmacist Ben here. Thanks for joining us. 855-660-4261 is our number. Our bright side phone team number is 866-735-2470. Love to have you on the bright side Ben team. Give the Brightside Ben phone team a call at 866-735-2470. They can tell you all about it for a one-time $10 fee. You can join the team and get your products at the wholesale price. Start yourself a longevity business right off your home office and your products and your mileage, and maybe even make a little bit of money as well. They can tell you all about it at 866-735-2470, or you can click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com. Okay, so this whole notion of how the body breaks down really relates to what goes on in the body under normal conditions, healthy conditions. Under normal, healthy conditions, cells, and you got 100 trillion cells. Just contemplate that for a second. We got 100 trillion cells. Do you have any idea how long it would take you to count to 100 trillion if you counted your cells one by one? How many years it would take you to count each cell one by one? Take a wild guess. No, not 100 years, not 200 years, not 1,000 years, not 10,000 years. If you counted your cells one by one, it would take you 32 million years. That's how big a number 100 trillion is, and that's how many of these little cells we have in our body that compose us. This is ridiculously amazing. And each one of these cells is 1/100th the size of a head of a pin, and each one of these tiny little infinitesimally structures is spending every second of its life converting chemical A into chemical B into chemical C into chemical D into chemical